Hello, friends of the podcast. How are you doing? How's it going for you? I hope all is well and shiny and bright and deeply surrendered and aligned and in flow. Just a small request and desire I have for your soul. Hey, listen, if you're interested in getting some really deep activation, spiritual healing, and alignment for yourself, getting clarity on your own spiritual path, and or clearing or healing anything you need cleared or healed from your body, being, soul, or spirit, join me for 3 days of star being and Christ-light healing, October 1, 2, and 3 in upstate Massachusetts, or you can join online. It's a 3-day retreat where we're gonna zap a ton of crap right on out of your system and align you with the light in a really powerful way. October 1, 2, and 3. For details, give me a little email and I will email you back with everything you need. KLRubin, RUBIN, @gmail.com. That's K as in kiss, L as in love, RUBIN, @gmail.com. Additionally, consider joining us for 2 weeks in Egypt, November 15th to the 26th. 2 weeks in Egypt, friends. We're gonna go to the temples, we're gonna go to the pyramids, we're gonna go to the Sphinx, and we're gonna be raising the vibrational field of the planet to lift the weight of the recent trauma that we've all been going through for the past year or two, from the planet itself, from the collective, and from our own hearts. So this will be a ton of healing, and also like rad travels on the Nile, and an integration time for 2 days at a beach at the end in Egypt. Have you always wanted to go to Egypt? Well, you should go. Now's the time. Email me, klrubin @gmail.com. That's K as in kiss, L as in love, RUBIN @gmail.com. And for now, enjoy the cast of Pod.
Welcome to that spiritual, actual, factual answers to questions you're asking. You find them inside you, recite you, reciting the records. Akashic, we laughing, we drafting, the passion through various. Time for that comedy, dramedy, all of the fanciest, catchiest acronyms. Listeners, listen, we traveling. Consciousness is always unraveling. The reading you're having is mapping you back to your natural habitat. Abracadabra, it's magicless, fascinating. To top it off, the host, all the classiest. Now, what were you asking for? All of the answers, what? All the answers.
Hitting record and babooskies, papauzers. So speaking of hitting record, I taped my first voiceover audition in a long time today.
Nice.
You been doing any of those?
Not for mostly. My agent sent me one the other day. I was like, finally, and it was for non-union. And she was like, oops. And I was like, should I do it? She's like, no, sorry, that was a mistake.
That sucks.
Good time for a change.
Yeah.
This is my voiceover work right here.
For sure. Yeah, this one I liked. It was like one where it was right up my alley. Like, when some auditions are just like a total stretch and you're like, I guess I'll try that. Sure. And then other auditions are like, that was for me. And it was one of those where it was like the type of role I don't ever identify with, but always get cast as, where I'm like, if I just say words the way Katie Rubin says words, people call that these 4 descriptors.
Right.
Lawyer, lesbian, scientist, boss, angry, corporate.
8s. All the 8s.
Yeah. All the 8s. It's 8. You're right. It's very 80. And so that happened.
Yeah. I don't think I know what my voice signature is. That's maybe something I need to get with a coach or something and figure out, because that's not something I know. Like I have trouble with that like piece of identity.
I do too. I mean,
I think it's one thing.
Yeah. I don't feel that way inside, but it's how I sound to people. So like I go, fine. That's what you want to pay me to do? Fine.
Exactly.
Oh my God. So I live in New York now. No big deal.
No big deal. Because a big move 6 months ago wasn't enough.
No, do you know that was a 1 year ago?
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you did a year in Mancus.
I did.
Excellent.
I completed that lease on that house.
Oh, good. So you didn't have to cut a lease.
No.
That worked out.
I even was so sure I was going to have to break my lease that I got her a new renter and then told her, hey, I'm going to go and I'm so sorry, but I got you someone and he's going to cover my last 2 months. And she was like, huh? Your lease is up tomorrow. And I was like, oh, well, bye. I didn't say it like that, but yeah, so that happened. And there's so many relevant woo-woo stories to tell here. It's almost hard to figure out where to start. There's so much in this move.
Well, it's going to be a Katie Story podcast episode, because we have those every once in a while, because you tend to live adventures. And every once in a while, like, the stories stack up, and then we gotta drain the reservoir.
That's right.
Because it's getting over full.
I think you're right.
I wish I had that sometimes, and also I don't, because it sounds exhausting. But like I don't have I don't mean you're exhausting to me. It sounds like the intensity with which things occur in your life sounds like, wow, that's a lot.
Huh. Yeah, I feel like the last 3-4 years of my life are so slow. I can't believe how slow they are. I'm just like...
And anybody who's listening would be like, that's not how we're experiencing you at all.
I wonder. I do wonder. I mean, that's not how you experience me.
No.
I wonder. I mean, you're probably right. I don't actually have any idea. But
well, I mean, I probably experience you a little different. I'm thinking about like our listeners who only know you having started listening a year and a half ago. They're like, so this is the Katie we know.
Uh-huh.
And I would think they would be like, she lives a pretty storyful life, right? But like, if you like backload it onto the rest of the previous 10 years, they'd be like, oh, this is mellow time for Katie.
But don't you think that storyful has a lot to do with how you're interpreting the events in the moment?
I'd like to think that.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. In other words?
Well, in other words, it's like, I could say to you right now, yeah, I drove a U-Haul across the country and it took 5.5 days. It was kind of hard. End of story. Or I could tell you the story I'm about to tell you, which has like harrowing adventures and deep awarenesses and psychic experiences. Like, it's all the lens you're looking at it through.
I agree with that. You could minimize, but I feel like what you're doing there is pushing back on the story. Whereas I think, like, for myself, most recently, I like we'll be getting ready to record a podcast, and I'll be shrugging, because I'll be like, I don't feel like I have storyful, even potentially storyful stuff, because my life has been pretty mellow lately. So mellow that I don't have even like, you know, you were on a road and it was icy and you couldn't get up the road and you came back down and your tire blew out. And like, those are all storyful moments that sure you could describe as I had a tire blowout, but that still is a thing that can blow up into a story.
So
whereas I feel like I don't even have those lately. I have absolutely in my life.
Okay, I got you. So you're saying literal events are not occurring in your reality.
Exactly.
Are you hiding in your house?
No, I did go away for the weekend with Denise and all of her friends from all of her Burning Man crew. We did a whole, like, everyone tested in, and then we arrived at this big house and had so that right there, you're right. I could blow up into all the stories, and there's plenty to tell.
I'm sure there's 90 stories in there.
But prior to that, the month prior, 2 months prior, not so much.
Yeah, but I bet you if I probed, we'd find more.
I'd like it if you'd probe me, Katie.
Okay. All right.
No? You didn't like that one?
Okay.
Sometimes you're like, oh, that felt ungood.
No,
okay,
it's not
fine.
the sexual inappropriateness. I'm always a fan of that. It's the when I can see it coming 60 miles away.
Yeah, I mean, that one was just like served up on a damn platter.
Anyway, I bet you if I asked you about last week and I was like, no, okay, break Friday down. And you told me, well, I did go to the grocery store. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, I ran into my childhood best friend, but like, that's not a big... I think it's just you have to peel it open. And I'm just always looking for narratives.
You've got the writer brain and the comedy brain.
Maybe
like
that's
what you teach. Like, you teach people to look at those moments and then break them into smaller moments and break them into smaller moments, I assume.
That's a really good point. I wonder if, as someone who thinks that way and teaches those things, am I creating more moments like that in my reality just so that I'll have a story? I will say this much. I wonder that, A. B, I do notice that life will be happening, and as it's happening, I'm going, oh my God, I'm already writing the story of it. I'm going to tell my friends later that night because I'm like, oh, this is fun. And then I'll frame it like this, and then I'll tell her about the backstory first. And then like I'm all creating it as I'm living it.
Oh God, that's such a statement though. Like when I do that, then I'll go one step out from there as well. So you zoomed out a little bit to be like, I'm having an experience and I'm noticing that I'm having an experience. And then I'll step back from that and I'll go, you're no longer having the experience because you're already analyzing the experience. And then I'll judge myself for analyzing the experience while it's happening.
I see.
It's exhausting to live in my brain.
I mean, I think that's a part of what being an artist is, though, particularly like a theater artist, because and you've taught enough like non-actors acting stuff. I guess I might even frame it differently than analytical. I would say there's, that acting idea of dual consciousness.
I think so. Why don't you explain it though?
Yeah, sure. You know how like every acting training has its own little languages and they all mean the same shit, but nobody, you know what I mean? Like you go to one school and they teach you like acting means these 6 lingo things. And then whatever, everybody has different words. Dual consciousness, I find that I have to teach normal people. Like when I'm teaching at Stanford and it's all executive people and I'm like, let's use acting tools to learn how to have better communication with our coworkers, or let's use acting tools to whatever, wherever I'm applying acting tools, that they have a really hard time with dual consciousness. And like, I noticed that it's the 1 out of 10 of those normal people that can do dual consciousness that can do acting stuff relatively well. And what it is the awareness of what your body is doing in space and how it might appear externally to others, and what you're doing psychologically, emotionally, internally to the other person.
Yeah. Would you also say that there's an element of, and this is one of my biggest challenges as an actor, is it's like Schrodinger's cat. It's how do you have the awareness of whatever process you are feeling, engaging in, living truthfully in, without interrupting that process, by observing it, killing the cat. By observing it, I now no longer am having it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole thing of acting. Like if you can do those 2 things and not kill it with the awareness of what's occurring, you're in what I would call the zone. You're flowing.
And then you have the slightly more irresponsible version of that, people who sometimes are called method actors, but fuck that, that's stupid. But is like, I'm so in it that I hurt people, I don't have control over my violence, like people who get injured on movie sets or in plays because the other actor's so feeling it and in it that they no longer
are in
control of their process.
My frame of that would be like, I think sometimes that shit works. You get great performances out of people in movies. If like everyone's willing to deal with some douchey eccentric, you'll get a great show probably. I mean, I don't want to do that shit. I think that's inconsiderate of humans, but I do think sometimes it really works. I mean, the Jim Carreys of the world.
I mean, it does work. I just recently, honestly, this is coming from a recent story that someone told me, another actor, about another actor being in a show and like fucking injuring them and then not really apologizing because it was like, yeah, I'm just so in it.
Oh, well, we have a shared story. Are you talking about, I'm wondering.
Not ours.
No.
No.
Did this happen in the Bay Area?
I don't know.
Well,
no, this one happened elsewhere, I think. But go ahead.
Well,
we're being cagey because we don't want to tell their stories.
Well, here's a story that like kind of was a little bit Bay Area famous for a minute amongst like 7 people or whatever, which was that, and I'm not going to name names, but there were 2 male actors and they were in a rehearsal and one of them punched the other in the face. And when the other was like, what the fuck, dude? And the first actor who did the punching said, sorry, I was just in the moment. And the director applauded him for that. And then the director and that actor ended up like having an affair, like sleeping together. And the second actor was like, fuck all y'all. Y'all suck.
Right. I think I'm remembering that story and fuck that story. But this is even a totally different one.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, yeah.
Bullshit?
There's multiple versions of that. And this one happened on stage during performance.
Oh, my God.
I'm just so in it. And so that is the importance of dual consciousness. And I think we can even apply this to some of the work we do here. It's like we're getting into some really deep and important shit, but we also have to maintain a little bit of control over it, slightly zoomed out. Because if we just go, well, whatever I'm feeling is what I get to express without...
What's an example?
Understanding that we have an impact. I don't know if I can think of an example. I'm actually trying to shoehorn back into our fucking podcast. So that's probably
You don't
stupid.
have to do that.
I don't
But
have to do it.
anyway, but yeah, on this topic, it's like, yes, that is meth, that's such an extreme example of when you're not doing dual consciousness. The sort of more pedestrian one that like a normal person who's not an actor does is they're either doing I'm with you or they're doing I'm aware of what's happening, and one or the other pulls them so far out of the other that they can't do the other. And I think even though what I experience what you're saying as like you're naming that you're aware of the tension between them happening at the same time inside yourself, but neither one stops the other from occurring. Whereas non-actors, like the awareness of what you look like fully shuts down the ability to like say words at a person or vice versa. And it's interesting to think about like what is it and like this comes back to what we started talking about today, which was sort of like awareness of yourself as you are existing. Like we were talking about comedy writing or just writing, like I'm writing a story. For me, it's so automatic. It doesn't actually take me, I don't have to leave my body or leave the moment. I'm in the moment. I'm experiencing it and I'm going, oh, I'd frame it this way. But I'm in it. And sometimes it happens, I'll say, it's different, I guess, depending on the moment. Sometimes it happens after a moment. Like I'll be walking away from a coffee shop exchange and I'll be like, here's what happened just there. Anyway, la-di-da. Those are...
All that is to say, we should talk about your stories.
So the stories, yeah. I mean, so driving across the country, boy, howdy. This is where the spiritual framing of things is feeling relevant to me, which is I'm going to start with this piece. I don't know if we ever talked about this on here, but way back when I was in Benicia, you came out and visited me and we decided to do this very podcast. At that time, I was asking a lot of questions like, where am I going, right? Of my guides and the universe and da-da-da. And so I think I've probably told you and shared on the podcast about there's a process you can do where people who do a practice called family constellation work, sometimes there's a way that what they'll do when you're making a decision about something is you'll ask what's known as the field of consciousness, a question. You'll ask the field of awareness by writing. So let's say I'm saying to the field of awareness or to consciousness, where is it in my highest interest to move to? I might write the names of cities on little sheets of paper, fold them up so I'm blind and I can't see what words are on what paper. And then you hold the individual sheets against your heart and you see if your body you sort of muscle test it. You see if your body leans forward or leans back. You see if there's like a light expansive energy on it or a contracted closed energy on it. And you're blind. You don't know what your body's reading. So you're not influencing it theoretically with your mind.
Is someone else observing it or are you like videotaping yourself?
No, you're just noticing, oh, I'm moving forward on this one. Oh, I'm moving back on
but you don't know what the thing is. I'm confused about the blind part. I think I might have missed a step.
Yeah, so you have written on little sheets of paper, Durango, Memphis, New York, 3 different sheets of paper.
Got it.
They're all folded up separately. You are blind to what's on each paper that is separate from each other. You hold that paper you can't see the words of in your hand against your heart. And you say, is it in my highest good to move here? Consciousness of all that is. And then you'll get a yes or a no, or you'll get something in between. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Okay, so I did that with like 50 cities. And every time I did it, there were 2 that came up, only 2. The 4 corners, and it would either be like Memphis, 4 Corners, Durango, and New York. And at the time, I kept being like, I don't understand how New York or Southwest Colorado are my 2 choices. They're so different. Like, how is that even? So I kind of just went, okay, universe. All I really was looking for was like validation that this 4 Corners thing is probably a good idea. I'm going to ignore this New York thing entirely because I don't even know how to put that in I just like didn't even know. And later when I look back at it, I realized they weren't showing me either or. They were showing me this and then.
Wow.
How incredible is that?
Yeah.
So cut to, I'm 6 months into Memphis. All this healing shit has happened, all this womb healing and all this light from the earth and all these things. And it would wake me up in the middle of the night, the earth like working me. My house was on this huge vortex. It was intense. I'm sure I talked about it. Point being, 6 months in, maybe it was 8 months, I'm not sure. But there came a point where I went, well, nothing's happening. I was like looking around a lot going like, well, it's not waking me up in the middle of the night. I feel kind of complete on these issues I had. And then I started to go like, I sort of hate this altitude shit. It's always fucking sunny here. It's so dry. My hair looks terrible. There's nothing to do. You know, I wish I had more to do. And I'm just looking around like, I'm like suddenly getting like despondent and not happy with the area. And then I realized, oh, it's because I'm complete. They brought me here to do some stuff. I did the stuff. And when it was complete, it was like, well, time to go. So then I started asking like, okay, well, where in the world am I going? And I fully forgot about the New York thing. So I did my paper thing again and was like, okay, what about, I'm like asking stuff based on astrology, Austin, Texas, Miami, Florida. I'm just asking, threw New York in there. Bing, bing, bing. New York is the only one that lights up. Then I start going in the Akashic Records. Wait a minute. Didn't you guys tell me about New York before? Yeah, we did. Okay. So then it was like the only thing that lit up ever was New York for the next 3 months, which is what prompted all those drives I did, where I drove from Colorado to New York twice. And long story long, here we are. But I'm mostly just amazed by how back in the day, they showed me both of these places and I just misunderstood the message I was being given. This and then that. And I was going, is it this or that? Isn't that fascinating?
That's really fascinating.
So when I finally was like, okay, I need to at least explore this, came out a bunch of times or twice, I guess. And this is if I could tell people something that I think is the most important takeaway here is like, once you start, when you have an ability to hear guidance or whatever from like consciousness or the divine or whatever, sometimes you're going to, if you follow it, you're not going to be fully emotionally or mentally on board with it yet. I got on board emotionally. Like I was like, oh yeah, I actually want to do this. Halfway through my drive in the U-Haul.
So you weren't there when you left?
No, I like packed the U-Haul, rented the place here, got rid of all my shit, sold my furniture, undid my lease, feeling like this could be the worst idea ever. I don't even want to do this. All I wanted to do was go to Durango. Didn't want to, but all the yeses. Yes, yes, you're going. Yes, go, go. Yes, it's in the highest good. Yes. And I'm going, normal people do not function like this. What is this? What am I following? If I don't feel like it emotionally, if I mentally don't want to. So I do all these actions, right? Because I've learned to follow the divine no matter what. I pack the fucking U-Haul. I drive, which we're going to talk about this drive in a minute. Not an easy drive. I drive across the country. It takes 5.5 days and it's a very difficult drive. And about day 3.5, I went, oh my God, I cannot wait. It's going to be beautiful and lush and I can like audition for TV stuff and the city's going to be right there. And I know these 10 people who live there and I'm so excited. That was 3.5 days into the drive with all my earthly possessions in a fucking truck I'm hauling across the fucking country.
So those first 3 days were rough, probably.
The whole thing was rough.
Like more emotionally rough.
Oh my God.
I mean, yes, we heard that. Physically rough.
The whole thing was rough, emotionally, physically, all the levels the whole time, even when I got excited about going. So my point is for people listening is this is kind of how it works on the path where you have a knowing about something that's correct. And you may not, this comes up so much with healing clients a lot and coaching clients. People say things to me like, I really want to, I don't know, fill in the blank, be an actor. Let's use that as an example. But it's so hard and I'm so scared and how do you audition and I'm going to be nervous and all the stuff that comes up as once you agree to be an actor. You got to get headshots and they're expensive and you got to show up to the thing. All the reasons not to come up, right? And then people go, but I don't want to and I'm scared and it's too hard. And then they regret it when they're 60 that they never tried. Okay, it's the same. If you have a knowing, you've got to do a thing. Just because you don't feel like it or your mind isn't on board doesn't mean that the outcome of the doing of that thing isn't in your highest good.
Right. And it's being able to tune into the aspect of it that allows you to to trust the knowing in spite of the mind and heart crying out, no.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like the thing that people run into a lot where they need to break up with someone and they know they need to break up with them, but all the feelings happen. Boy, are people confused by feelings. We talk about this on here a lot, I know, but particularly in relationship, people think if my heart feels the lovey feeling, we can't break up. And I go, oh my God. I think one of the most profound lessons I've learned in my life is the lovey feeling in your heart is not necessarily the thing to listen to.
All right. So this does lead us to like a challenging thought, which is that we've also spent a lot of time talking about like, oh, the heart, listen to the heart before you listen to the mind, or the eye, that don't trust the eye, don't trust the mind, trust the heart. But now we're also saying also don't trust the heart.
Well, okay, let's be
'cause-
clear. No, we're talking about two different things. So the eye of the heart is the phrase I used. The eye of the heart. That means the window in the heart that knows the divine guidance. The lovey feeling in your heart when you meet a boy who's cute, or a girl who's cute, or a non-binary human mammal that's cute, that lovey feeling, sometimes super good to follow it, sometimes not. That's what I'm talking about right now. The lovey feeling that people think is love.
Right.
Sometimes it's not.
Right. That's just something. Yeah. I don't even know what it is. But yeah. And then the problem is like, how do we know the difference? And most of us aren't very in touch with any kind of divine guidance necessarily, or we don't know that we are. We don't know how to be in touch with our own divine guidance.
Well, here's what I would say is that sometimes, the lovey feeling brings people together for reasons that are important. And if you don't have, most people aren't like talking to God all day, and that's fine. So what they do is get involved relationally, sexually, romantically. But the key, what I'm pointing to here is 6 months in, you still have the lovey feeling because it's what brought you together. But you realize, oh, that's a narcissist, or, oh, I don't like him, or, oh, she's toxic. But now you think you can't leave because you still have the lovey feeling. That's what I'm saying, is that just because the lovey feeling is there doesn't mean it's a wise choice.
Yeah, my last big breakup is right in that pocket.
So that's what I'm
100%.
saying when I say like, oh, I'm having the love feeling, and people get so confused by what that love feeling means. And I understand it. The reason I have such a strong clarity about this one is because I had such a journey with it. I had such a difficult walking with this one, where I had people coaching me on this point, and I had to really ignore them, fail, fall in the pitfalls, do all the things wrong to wake up to like, oh, I quote fall in love all the time, or can. At least the old me could. These days I'm so picky, it's unbelievable. But I could fall in love all the time. And fall in love, even that doesn't mean what we think it means. Fall in love often happens so that you'll learn a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of that.
Back to the story. Let's do the narratives.
So, my God. I guess the other thing I'll say before I say the narratives is that just because a journey is hard doesn't mean the outcome isn't worth it. In other words, I got here and I went, oh my God. I posted this on Facebook recently, so some of you might remember that. But anyway, that I have, me, Cass, that I have never felt like I know what home or family feels like. And I just don't care because I just don't have it. So I'm always like, well, that's just not a thing I know. Okay, what else? And people are like, we're having my family party for the holiday of whatever. It's so cozy, fireplace, presents. And I'm like, sure.
All your connections to home and family are not good. They're not good connections in the past.
Well, that's not entirely true. Like my dad and I are close as you can be with him. I'm just saying like the feeling in the pit of your stomach of, home.
Yeah.
Not the kind of, like I've had that feeling with like, this is my house or my apartment. I love this building and I'm cozy in my bed. But I've never had the feeling of like, this location on the planet and these people around me, these are my people and this is my location. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Like I imagine, you tell me if I am projecting, but tell me if I'm inaccurate. I imagine when you hang with your dad and mom, you guys, you go like home.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I think I experienced a version of that when I finally moved to Oakland for the first time. Well, since I was born here, but as an adult and landed in Oakland, and I realized, but that was a little different. That was like city pride, but that's what I called it there. I was like, oh, I actually give a shit about the place I live. Like it matters. Yeah. And I do. And I also have very warm feelings of home in some other locations, and some of them are people based and some of them are location based.
That's awesome. Yeah. I have friends that I feel like I'm very close to, and like very invested in and they matter a ton to me and they feel like family-ish, but not in that blood, whatever that is, way. I mean, I actually have that connection more so with my dad these days. Like we really developed that over time with his growth and my growth. And I do feel like he is family and we are close to the degree that that's possible. But that sure took a long time to develop. Anyway, long story long, I got here and I shared with a friend of mine, I stayed in Pennsylvania one night on the drive here out of necessity because of weather. And I woke up in the morning and I went, oh my God, what is this feeling in the pit of my stomach? And it's like I can feel the earth below me and I recognize this earth. This feels familiar and also comfortable, but also exciting. Then I was like, oh, that's called feeling home.
So even as you neared the east.
It's kind of like this whole region. So all of that was a long-winded way of saying, just because you go through hell doesn't mean it's not worth it. I mean, so often people think like, if it's hard, it's a sign that I should stop. And sometimes, but sometimes not.
If you're going through hell, keep going.
Right, that one. Okay, so the stories are actually like this. Oh God. I mean, oh God, where to start? It was a huge tin box. It was a 15-foot truck. It rained. I had enormous thunderstorms to drive through several times on the 5.5 days. I was pulling a trailer that had my car on it. So I had to be very careful where I would pull in because I couldn't back out anywhere. You could never turn around or back out. So you could only pull in somewhere that you could pull forward to get out, which is tough. An example of a thing that happened was I got to Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm trying to find a hotel and they're all taken. Oh, there's so many stories. Anyway, and I'm calling this, I get this one hotel on the phone and they go, hey, do you guys have a parking lot where I can pull a U-Haul with a trailer with a car in it and I can pull forward to pull out because I can't back out? Yeah, we have that. No problem. I go, cool. All right, where is it? He gives me the address. I put it in the GPS. I go to the place. It is not that kind of fucking parking lot. It's the kind where you come in through a narrow fence, like two sides of a fence with a narrow opening between. And then there's 2 rows of cars, a row on the left and a row on the right with a narrow street down the middle. So once you're going in that parking lot, you have to back out to get out if you're me in a huge U-Haul with a trailer. But the guy was so insistent on the phone. Oh yeah, you just pull in on this street, turn right, and then you'll be fine. You can turn right around and come out. I get in there and there is no turning around. And the only way I can park is I sort of like God, it's hard to explain. I sort of parallel park on the left side and I take up like 13 parking spaces that were going perpendicular to where I'm facing. And my car on the trailer is in the middle lane, blocking cars from being able to come in and out.
That's not good.
Is this making sense, what I'm describing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly, yeah.
So I'm in other words, I pull in and there's not enough room for me to straighten out the U-Haul and the trailer. So the trailer is tucked into the place that everyone needs to go through to get out. But it's left just enough room that you can kind of eke around it, but it's definitely an asshole parking job.
Yeah.
Now,
this makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, it was a nightmare. Now, it's also the worst fucking thunderstorm I've ever seen when I'm parking this car. Sheets.
Oh, so it is just sheets of rain coming down.
Buckets of sheets of pissing rain. So I feel like, wait a minute, I've already turned in. I can't get out of here. All right, I guess that's tomorrow's problem, figuring out how the fuck I'm going to get out of here. So it's pouring rain. I grab my 3 bags and the dog who hates the water. And she's like, I don't understand what's happening. We get it to the hotel and I'm a little freaked out because the day has been hard, which is a whole other story. I walk into the hotel and remember I was talking to the guy on the phone who said, yeah, you can pull in there, no problem. Remember that guy? He also said to me, yeah, you can we have tons of rooms. I'll check you in when you get here. I go, great. We hang up the phone. I walk into the hotel and I go, hi, it's me. We were just on the phone. He goes, oh yeah, hey, did you park? I go, yeah, you can't actually turn around in there. He's like, sure you can. I go, no, not with a trailer he goes, oh yeah, no, that won't work. And I go, I just described to you that on the phone. And he goes, oh yeah, I didn't get it. Like no apology, just very like, yeah, oh, I didn't get it. I go, okay, all right, bro. Then I go, well, I guess I'll figure it out tomorrow. Maybe you guys can help me get out of there. He goes, oh, I won't be here. I go, is there someone will be here and maybe they can help me? He goes, yeah, maybe.
Love it. Good customer service.
I go, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm like, great job. Then I go, so anyway, could I book a room? And he goes, oh, we don't take walk-ins. And I go, what? Are you a hotel? He goes, yeah. I go, what do you mean you don't take walk-ins? He goes, we don't take walk-ins. I go, you're telling me that if a person wants to sleep at this hotel, they can't walk in and book a room? He goes, yeah. I go, so what do I do right now? He goes, oh, you have to call in or book on the app. And I go, do you mean the call-in number I just called where I talked to you? And he goes, yeah. And I go, so you're telling me I'm going to go sit in your lobby right over there 6 feet away, and I'm going to call you and you're going to let me book a room, but I can't talk to you right here and you'll book a room? He goes, yeah. I go, could you explain to me why that is the case? He was like, oh, I don't know. At this time, I want to push him down the grate of the sewer, and I want it to hurt. I want him dead.
Yeah.
And I'm trying so hard not to be an asshole. And I'm just like, and then I'm really close to crying. That's a whole other story. Anyway, I go, okay, no problem. I go sit in the lobby. I get on the phone and the app. He doesn't answer the phone. I watch the phone ring and he won't pick it up. So I'm on the app on my phone and I book a room. It takes 25 minutes, which is like too many minutes. I get up, I go back to the thing. I go, here's my reservation. He goes, great. And I go, all right. I think it would be cool if your boss explained to you why you can't check people in so that when people ask you why, then you have an answer. He goes, yeah, it would be. Does this not strike you as a terrible customer service experience?
This is the worst. You know what I'm doing though?
No.
I'm writing it. You know, our long delayed writing project.
Yes.
This is season 2. This is the beginning of season 2.
Ooh, now you're thinking. That's good. So then I have a long night. I spend the night. I'm so exasperated by this guy. And I'm at that place where, you know, when you've, maybe you don't know, but if you've cried 8 times in a day and you're at your wit's end and it's pouring rain and you have a trailer and they told you could park, but you can't park. And now you're blocking everyone and you're like, well, they're probably going to tow that. And I guess my car's gone forever. Oh, and I have to drive another 8 hours and be tortured tomorrow in the 55 mile an hour trailer in the rain with all the 18-wheelers behind me on the 1-lane freeway, because all the freeways in America right now are being constructed on. So what was 3 lanes is now 1. So you have 18-wheelers behind you that want to go 100 miles an hour and I can go 55. Because on the first night of my trip when I went 56, a tire on the trailer blew off in the middle of a lightning storm in eastern Colorado. 3 hours later, U-Haul showed up to fix that. They put a spare on. We drove in the worst lightning I've ever fucking seen, and the spare blew off the trailer. So my tire blew up, and then the spare blew up. I'm not kidding.
Okay, I'm going to return to our original premise, which is you live a more storyful life than other people. Keep going.
Okay, so you may be right, brother. You may be right.
It's the 2 spare thing. Come on.
It was not good.
All right.
Because that had happened, and they said to me, you can't go over 55 miles an hour. Because it says that on the trailer when you tow a trailer. But people do. Everybody goes 75 anyway.
Yeah.
Well, nope. Now, the guy who fixed that trailer, this is night 1 of the trip. I'm backing up in time. The guy who showed up the following morning after the single worst lightning storm I've ever seen, I'm not exaggerating. It was a nightmare, terrifying horror show of lightning. Every second there was lightning, and it was right there. It would be like lightning, thunder, like no distance. We finally ended up getting it towed. I separated the U-Haul from the trailer with the car on it, and they towed the trailer and car to my hotel. In the morning, they brought me, U-Haul did, a new trailer, put the car on the new trailer, and attached it to the U-Haul. And the guy who did that explained to me, get this. The reason the tire exploded in the first place was, you know, on a tire hub, which is metal. There's like the center of the tire that's metal, and then you have the tire on top of that. You with me so far? Okay. I see your half dead eyes. I'm like, I'm putting him to sleep with these stories.
I'm looking right at your image on the camera.
I know, I'm just like concerned that you're asleep. Okay, so the bolts that hold the hub to the trailer had not been properly lubricated. The Lugnuts, that's what this episode should be called. Definitely. They had not been lubricated, so they were not spinning. So as I'm going 60 miles an hour down the freeway, the thing was just increasing heat. It was just getting hotter and hotter and hotter because it wasn't spinning.
Oh, this is something else. It's not Lugnuts. Okay, but go on.
It's the bolts that hold the hub of the tire thing to the trailer.
Oh, okay.
So they should be spinning so that the tire turns.
Right.
but they weren't spinning because they weren't lubricated. So they were just, what happened is they got so hot, they froze to the sides around them and got so hot that they exploded the tire from heat. The very hub of the tire exploded itself from heat. And B, it was so hot, he showed me, he goes, you see this? If you imagine the other side of the tire well, where like, let's say you're sitting on the trailer and you're looking at the tire well from the other side of it. From the inside. It had a burned circle shape.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Because the heat of driving so fast with no turning was just creating fire. So it was their fault that it had happened, which is why they ended up replacing the trailer for me for free and theoretically paying for my hotel room. Okay. After that, on night 1, you better believe I was not going over 55 miles an hour. And the fucking trailer says...
Which makes for a hell of a long trip across the country.
That, plus the rain every day, all day, with lightning. Plus, when you get to eastern Ohio / Pennsylvania, every freeway is a very tall hill you go up and a very tall hill you go down.
Oh, God.
So when you're in a huge-ass U-Haul by yourself with your small dog... going up a hill at 55 miles an hour with all your earthly possessions behind you and your car, the machine sounds like it's going to explode every millisecond that you're driving. And all the 18-wheelers behind you are honking and going like, why don't you go faster? And I'm going, and that's Cassidy, that's all day long for 8 hours a day for 5 days.
And then when you're going down the hill, the anti-lock brakes are going probably every time.
A zillion %. And not only that, I'm terrified going downhill because I don't know if they're going to hold these brakes. And everybody behind me hates me even more because now they want to go fast. But remember, it's a 1-lane freeway. Nobody can pass. And I think I would say that like 60% of the freeways were turned into 1 lanes. 60%. So the stress of it was so high all day long. I kept pulling over at gas stations just to sob. I didn't need gas. I didn't need water. I just need to cry. I was so stressed out. It was really, really, really hard. And that's one story. So actually that's 2 stories. Air explosions, plural. And then the night where the hotel guy said, we don't take people in this hotel.
That's a comedy sketch. What happened in the morning?
Okay, so the morning comes. Do you have a thing, Des?
I just wanted to say that if you wrote this down verbatim, a Hollywood producer would tell you to do another pass on it to make it believable.
Yeah, that's how I felt the whole fucking time. The whole fucking time.
Like, it's too much. Come on. That's too much.
That shit doesn't happen. So the morning comes. I come downstairs and I go, there's a whole new crew of people who also look like they hate being there and they don't know what they're doing. And I go, okay, I tell them the story. Parking, can't get out. So they call a lady who was just their salesperson, like a marketing person, who's like basically me. Me comes out of an office and goes, sure, I'll help you get out of there. And I'm thinking immediately, I'm like, she's not going to be able to fucking help me back this fucking thing out of it. As much as I couldn't. There's no way this lady and I are backing this fucking thing out of this place. I need a dude, and I need a dude who knows this kind of shit. Or a lady person who, when you meet her, you go, that bitch knows how to back a fucking thing out. Or a non-binary person who, when you meet them, you go, that human mammal knows how to fucking... Somebody who you can tell on them knows how to do this thing.
Right.
This bitch...
You just feel it.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
You look at this person, they're like, I don't know either.
Oh, this bitch and I were... But she tried to be like, customer service, I'll help you. And I'm like, you can't help me. Anyway.
Well, that's a switch, at least.
Well, she wasn't friendly or nice. She just was like, yeah, sure. That's fine. I'll help you. Let's go do it. We get outside. She's wearing a sundress. It starts to shit rain again. Shitting rain. And I go, do you want to run back inside and get an umbrella? Because this is going to take a while. She goes, no, it'll be fine. I go, this is going to take us 40 minutes. You want to be in this shit rain for 40 minutes? She goes, no, it won't take that long. I go, all right. I don't know anything about life. Okay. We get to the parking lot. Sure enough, she can't get me back out. Every direction she gives me, the trailer does the wrong thing. It won't go right when we turn left. It won't go left. It won't do what it's supposed to do. And I'm terrible at it. And she's terrible at it. And I knew that would happen. So that's 25 minutes. She goes, you know what? I'm going to get it's shitting rain, diarrhea rain all over. She's fully soaked and mad. And I go, remember when I said about the umbrella? Maybe you should get do you want to get an umbrella? No, I'm going to get the maintenance guy. He'll help you. Okay, great. Maintenance guy shows up. this guy doesn't know anything about anything ever. He has never backed a thing out of any. I know it the minute I meet him. I just knew. He spends another 25 minutes. He goes, and everything he's telling me, because he's standing out in the rain, I go, do you want an umbrella? Because it's pissing rain. No, I'm okay. It's fine. Okay, so now I'm guilty about that and trying to just focus. He's like, okay, turn left, back it out. And that does the wrong thing. Turn right, back it out. That does the wrong thing. Nothing's working. So finally, I just sort of ignore both of them and just like 1 inch at a time, slowly managed to back it out. And they helped 0%. Thank you. Desmond is clapping. Thank you. It was, I can't even take credit. It was just like sort of a miracle that took an hour and it happened. Okay.
I'm nauseous. This is so hard.
It was terrible. Shitting rain. Remember, shitting rain the whole time. Like the kind of rain where even if your windshield wipers are on, you're like, I can kind of see.
Yeah.
So now I have to go around the block and pull in front of the hotel to go inside and get my shit. I don't even have my luggage with me.
Oh, God.
So I park in front of the hotel. The thing is longer than a tour bus. There's 3 cars behind me that are all part of a wedding, and they want me to pull forward because the bride is in a fucking wedding gown, and she needs to get out of the car, but it's pissing rain. So can you just pull up a few feet? Now I see that if I pull up, I'm going to have to back out to pull out. And I have to say to this wedding party, let me explain. And I tell them, like, I'm trying to give them context. Like, I just did the back out thing. It took an hour. Backing out is impossible. I can't back out. But if you look over here, you'll see that I have to back. They don't believe me. They're just mad. So I go, give me 10 minutes. I'm going to run upstairs, get my shit. I'll come down and I'll be out of here. And they're like, but the wedding starts in 10 minutes. So I'm holding a woman's wedding up with this fucking trailer. Long story long, I run inside and make packing happen in 45 seconds. I get all my shit. Meanwhile, I've got the dog on the leash and she's miserable. She's getting shit on and she's half Chihuahua and hates the rain. And I'm like dragging the dog around and I've got 3 bags and I can't carry them and nobody at this hotel will help me. Oh, and by the way, it's all stairs. There's no elevators. So it's all stairs coming down. Shit show nightmare. Finally, I get all the shit in all the places and I pull the U-Haul out of there and I look at my clock and I did it all in like 4.5 minutes. I was very proud of myself. The bride is now crying. I see her get out of her car and her makeup is all fucked up.
Oh, God.
All fucked up. And at this point, I give so few fucks. I'm like, just get me the fuck out of here. I drive out and it's pissing rain and I say to God, I cannot drive in this. You want me to leave now? And I get these big, huge yeses. You got to leave now. Now.
Like, get out of this hellmouth.
Long story long on the end of that story. And there's like 3 more of these, which I don't even know how many we'll get to. But I get out of there. I get on the freeway. And like, lo and behold, 20 minutes later, no more rain. It was like thundery, lightningy, but it wasn't raining anymore. And then cut to the end of that story. The whole rest of the trip, my guides kept not letting me stop for long periods of time. And I was very stressed out and needed to stop and cry. And they were like, sorry, babe, you got to keep going. Well, it turned out Hurricane Fred was on my tail. It was 8 hours behind me. So every 8 hours I would drive, it would move 8 hours north to where I was. So when I landed in New York, I looked back on the radar and it was like, if I had stayed at any of the spots I wanted to stay, I'd be like sitting in that hurricane 4 days later paying.
So it was just on your tail the whole time.
That's right. And I kept getting shit on by the rain associated with it. But the eye of the storm was behind me by about 8 hours. And if I had stopped where I wanted to stop, I would have had to pay extra days with the U-Haul, which is thousands of dollars per day, which I don't have.
Wow.
So I was being taken care of. It was just wildly uncomfortable to show up for what I needed to show up for. And I don't recommend it. I wouldn't, I would never, it was bad.
On a tiny side note, just on the hurricane note, just funny, interesting thing is that a friend of the podcast, best friend of Cassidy, Rami, they are doing a play right now in Boston, and the play is called Hurricane Diane. And right before they go into tech, they are hit with a hurricane warning. And they're like, buckle up. It's a hurricane. Rami's like, that's why I'm here. That's why I came to town.
Also,
I just think that's awesome.
Rami was telling me that story, and they told me that there's an actual line in the play that says, like, holy shit, you mean we're getting hit with a hurricane? And so they all kept, like, getting to say the line and have it have a double meaning.
Nice.
Nutso.
Anyway, back to your madness.
Okay, so the tire, I call that second story the hotel that wasn't a hotel. That happened. And then there was one other big harrowing one. What was it? I'm blanking on it now. I don't know. We'll think of it as we go. But the Pennsylvania part of the trip was after Cleveland. So I'm already stressed out and all this bad shit is happening.
So Cleveland was where the bad hotel.
Yes, Eastern Colorado was where the tire blowouts, plural, happened.
Okay.
So now I get to Pennsylvania. Oh, here's a good one. Okay, here's what it was. Son of a fuck. I get to Chicago, actually Indianapolis, but what's it called? You know those two cities that are one city? It's
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah, good guess. That is a good guess. It's a different one. It's Champaign-Urbana.
Oh, that's the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
Illinois.
Now, this is a story of what happens when you don't listen to your guidance.
Okay.
So I'm having the easiest drive day. I think it was day 3. It was my easiest day. There was actually some sun. I think it was Illinois was really beautiful and it was not going terribly. And I was so grateful, right? I'm chugging along 55 miles an hour, but like there's no chaos, right? So I start to ask my guidance, like, where am I going to stop? Do I do it based on a location or do I do it based on a time? What's going to work out best? And I get very clearly 7:30. You're going to stop at 7:30 p.m. Don't drive past 7:30 because it's going to be nighttime. You don't want to drive this thing at night. And also like 7:30. And I go, all right, that's very clear. So 7 p.m. rolls around and I'm like, well, there's a bunch of hotels right here and they all look kind of nice. How about now? And they're like, no. 7:30. Drive till 7:30 and get up. And I go, but there's like a really nice Hilton. Like, I don't want to, is there pretty? It's going to be some shitty thing half an hour from here. Okay. They go 7:30. I go, all right. So I go till 7:30. I go, is now the time to get off? They go, right now. Good. This one. Good. So I get off the freeway and there's 2 hotels and they're both shit show hotels. I just run down shitty. The one I drive into has like mold in the carpet in the fucking lobby. It's not cute. Okay. But I pull in. The driveway is enormous. It's like the size of a football field. I could have pulled in and out of there 70 times. No problem. There were ins and outs for trailers everywhere. There were parking spots for trailers. Okay. I pull into my parking spot with a trailer with a U-Haul. I go, really, you guys? This is gross. They're like, this is it. Good for you. Take a rest. It's going to be great. You get up in the morning. You get your thing. You're on your way. I go into the hotel. Mold on the carpets. No lights in the lobby. It's so gross, you guys. I go to the guy at the front desk. He has, I'm not making this up, the front 5 teeth are missing. He has no teeth in the front upper part of his mouth. And he's smoking a joint at his desk.
Again, we need a script doctor because this is too much.
He puts the joint out like dab, 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 dab. So I can see him do it. He's going dab, dab, dab. And he puts it under the desk. Like that's going to make me not smell the epic weed that is all in the So I realized like nobody has come in here for hours. That's why he can just smoke a fucking spliff. Anyway, so I come up and then when he starts talking and I see there's no teeth, I'm just like, I'm going to die here. This is where I die. Long story long.
It's a season of American Horror Story. It's called Motel.
That's so true. He checks me in. Okay, this is right outside Champaign-Urbana. Right outside, like 20 minutes outside. Okay, so it's disgusting is the point and terrifying. I've got the jog. I get in. He gives me the key. I go to the second floor. There are piles of laundry, plural, like 4 piles of laundry, like as tall as my head. I'm not kidding. In the hallway. And the hallway smells like piss. I do a full turnaround. I go, nope. I walk back downstairs. I go straight to the man with no teeth and I lie to his face. And I say, hey, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I'm meeting my family in Champaign-Urbana and I stopped at the wrong Best Western. I'm so sorry. I need a refund. I fully lie. There's no family. There's no hotel. There's nothing. Now, have I checked with my guides? Not a once. Don't give any fucks. Not staying there. Not doing it. Why? Spoiled lady. Don't care. Not doing it. Smells like piss. He says to me, oh, I don't know how to do a reversal. And I go, cool, keep the $120. Have a good night. And I walk out. I don't give a fuck. He can have my money. Then he goes, yeah, well, my manager can do it. He calls the manager. She can't do it right now, but she can do it in the morning when she gets there. I go, cool. Bye. I get in the trailer and I look on my phone. Champaign-Urbana is a mere 20 minutes away. And I'm thinking, this is a bustling college town. I'm looking on my map. There's like 95 hotels. I'm not kidding. So many hotels. And I'm going, why would you guys, my guides, tell me to stop here in this shithole when I could just drive 20 minutes and have the pick of the litter of any fucking hotel I want? So now I'm righteous and pissed. I get back in the U-Haul. I drive 1,000,000 miles an hour. Not really, 57. And I get to Champaign-Urbana. Now, the entire time, you guys, that I'm driving, I'm calling hotels. Oh, sorry, we're full tonight. Oh, sorry, we're full tonight. Oh, sorry, we're full tonight. I called 16 hotels. No rooms available. Finally, I call one hotel, and I want to say it was the Hilton. Was it the Hyatt or the Hilton? I can't remember. Nice hotel. The guy says, we have one room left tonight. It's the King Suite. It's $450. Okay. And I go, I'll take it. I'll take it. Fine. There's no hotels and there's no rooms. And I can't figure out why in this urban environment are all the rooms taken. It's like a Thursday. What is happening? Okay. I get the fucking U-Haul and the trailer to this hotel. I'm in the middle of a city now. Their parking garage has a ceiling that is lower than my height. I can't park in it. And they have a roundabout that you can pull into that has a sign over it that says, no U-Hauls allowed in the roundabout. So I pull my U-Haul into the roundabout because I have no choice because I'm in a city. I can't just stop on the street with this thing. There's cars and there's people and there's no stopping. So I pull in the roundabout and I figure I'm going to talk my way out of it. Like I have to park in this fucking roundabout overnight. This is what's happening. So I go into the hotel. There's two lovely gentlemen at this hotel. And I explain the situation. I'm so sorry. I just reserved a room. It's your last room. It's the King. It's so expensive. I've called 15 hotels. Nobody has a room. And they're like, oh yeah, it's move-in day for the college. So all the families from all over the world are here moving their people in. So there's no rooms. You're not going to find another room. I go, I know, I tried. And they go, we're really sorry, but you can't get there. It's a fire hazard. We've gotten ticketed before. You know what? We'll try to find you a different room at a different hotel. Now, I've just called 16 hotels. I'm not exaggerating. So immediately, and I'm so stressed at this point that immediately I'm sobbing because I realize like I can't be mad at these guys. They're just doing their job. I'm just so desperately sad and overwhelmed by this day that I'm just like, okay, I understand your position and I'm really sorry. And the thing is, I just called 16 hotels and there's no, you're not going to find a room. And I'm just a mess. So the one of the two guys takes pity on me and he goes, wait a minute, I have an idea. I know the guy who runs this other hotel 10 miles away. I bet you he'll let you park there and you can keep your room here tonight. He calls his buddy. The guy says, sure, no problem. Long story long, it takes me an hour and a half to check in and get into my $450 hotel room when I could have.
You also had to take like a lift for another $70 to get back?
Well, so the sweetest part was the guy ended up driving. He drove the hotel van and led me there.
Aww.
And then drove me back. But you better believe I gave him a huge ass fucking tip because I was like, you just made my night possible. But now my U-Haul and the trailer are 10 miles away in somebody else's hotel and my car is there and I can't see it or take care of it. So like, hopefully that goes okay. I come back, I have a drink, I sleep in the hotel. It's a beautiful hotel, way too much money. But the point of the whole story is that's why the guides were like, bitch, just sleep here. It is cheap.
Sleep in the piss hole.
It is a cheap piss hole where you can park easy and you're out of here early in the morning, escaping that fucking hurricane that's on your tail. But I was like, let's delay it because I want the curtains to be pretty. Now, we can also take another thing from that story, which is like, I did get taken care of. Everything worked out. Sometimes you want to push forward and get what you want and not settle. And that's a nice lesson too. It's just that with my stress level at that moment, I didn't need another hour and a half adventure of trying to figure out where the fuck I was going to park the thing. So that happened. And then the next day and a half was driving through Pennsylvania, which was all one lane, up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, down the hill, sobbing at the Love's gas station, up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, down the hill, sobbing. And then
Which have really nice pull-throughs, though, luckily.
Oh, God, I love them. I love them so much now. It's funny, even just telling this story is like it's a little much. I'm like tired just.
You're reliving it a little bit. Whew.
I got to drop off the U-Haul. It was the day to drop it off. There's another story. Oh boy.
Hold on, before you get into more stories, I think we should continue on this. I think this is the whole episode today. We got about a half hour left. If we are going to go on the records, we should do it. But I feel like this is where we're headed. This is beautiful.
Well, it's a good point because there's a whole thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the records. But I think you might be right. This might just be a story about this.
This is good shit.
But let's cue ourselves up for next time with this little side note, which is the following thing. I got here and I went, you can imagine my relief when I got to this place. And also my condo is like beyond ridiculously beautiful. And I'm in heaven and the town is better than I remembered it. And everyone I meet is friendly. And I'm like, everybody's a New Yorker. Like I keep having all these wonderful New York experiences where I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like to not be the loudest person in every room. Everyone I meet is like, hey, how are you? How's your day? That's your dog? She's cute. And I'm like, thank you. I agree. It's like everybody's an 8 and we're all friends. And I'm just like, how have I not lived in New York this whole time in my life? How? I like the...
And it's just the opposite of Mancus, which is all that sort of weird, like, we're all going to be real charming but a little rednecky and a little scary, but also kind of kind. How you doing, miss? Ma'am?
A lot of like friendliness, but a lot of like, you're a weird alien. And me being like
racist friendliness.
Yeah. Yeah. And also just like that real like humble farmer vibe that's like very admirable, but like not me. So that I always felt like, why do I feel extra Jewish all the time out here? Oh, because I'm the only one.
Because they also notice. They're like, there's one of them.
Because I do not blend here.
Oh, you blend. It's one of my favorite lines from my cousin Vinny.
Oh, you blend. Yeah, I remember that. Oh my God, the first couple of days here, I was like, every person I talked to, I was like, he was so direct and so friendly. Everybody's direct and friendly. I'm not an alien. It just feels amazing in that way. I get here. Here's the last story I'll tell. I set up the movers that were going to unpack the U-Haul and bring all the shit inside on the phone while driving through this harrowing experience. So I'm like guessing at which moving company, so I called a bunch of them and nobody was available. Everybody was like, oh, it's the busiest time of year and COVID and everybody's moving. Sorry. 3 people finally say yes. I think I called 10 companies. And this one guy is being super cool. His name was Tommy. He and his crew were going to meet me at the place. No problem. And he kept being real flexible. He kept being like, you coming in Monday night? I got you. Oh, it's not going to be till Tuesday? No problem. I got you. Wait, is it Wednesday now? I got you, Katie. Don't panic. I'm like, this guy is saving my life and he's so New York and I love this. Okay, I get here and it's like not anywhere near the time I said it would be. Like for 3 days, I keep having to put the time off and change it. Poor Tommy. And he's like, it's all right. I got you. So we get here, me and the doggy. Heaven. I'm so glad to be here. I'm in heaven. I can't believe how happy to not drive that thing anymore. Tommy arrives about an hour later with his crew. And to describe his crew, I'll put it to you like this. I wound up meeting my neighbor, this guy, Chris, who's just like a wonderful man. Turns out he's like a 5-star chef who's like famous for chefing. He has now cooked 2 dinner parties that I've been to just in the week I've lived here. And we're like buds forever, best guy ever. At the first dinner party, he said to me, so I actually wasn't sure you were going to survive your movers. And I go, thank you for saying that, because that is how I felt. Because this crew of dudes looked like if you guys and I did a casting call for the most terrifying looking group of people that we're going to do like a Rikers Island show.
Oh, God.
We're going to do, let's cast 5 murderers that definitely look like they've murdered somebody recently, like today. This was this crew. One guy, not kidding, one guy, his left eye, it was not an eye, it was a white ball.
Yes.
Like he couldn't afford, not to shit on his economic situation, but like something happened where, like, because really I get like, fuck, you got to do what you got to do. If your fucking eye gets gouged out, you got to put something in there. Instead of an eyeball, the thing that looks like an eye, but like a glass eye, he's got a white sphere, like a white ball, fully white.
Jesus.
Not like skin color, like white, like the wall, white.
Yeah.
Okay. He also is missing a bunch of teeth. Another guy has a wife beater on, one of those white tank toppy wife beaters, but it's
I usually would feel like we don't call them that, but it sounds like maybe we do in this case.
I actually would like to understand, do we not call them that?
Well, it's just it's a casually funny way of like making light of fucking spousal abuse. That's all. Like, look at that shirt. It's a person who beats on another human being. That's all.
Right. It's also like
It's because I think
a
it's
way
just
of
from
saying that you're maybe a little less economically sound and therefore you beat your wife, which is also
right.
shitty, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a white ribbed tank.
So he had a white rib tank on, but it was stained brown.
Yeah.
Brown.
From sweat.
From sweat. And he had like pregnant belly, like a pregnant man's belly.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked like this. He'd say like, where do you want this thing to go? And I'm like, he was like too loud and he had a lisp and it was like, he didn't know that he was loud. So it was just like, it was like intense. Another guy, the third guy, was either on meth or coke. I spent the whole day being like, I think it's coke. No, I think it's meth because I've done the drugs. And I'm like, which drug? Oh, he's just amped up as fuck. This guy moved faster than any human I've ever seen. He was up and down, up and down, up and down, bringing shit in, bringing shit out, bringing shit in. Then he's like, I spin beats. I make beats and I spin them and I shouldn't have quit. I heard you have a podcast. Are you famous? Are you famous on your podcast? How do I know you? You're an actor? What shows have you been in? I used to spin. I spin beats. He kept saying I spin beats.
Spin beats. I'm a DJ.
Yep. I shouldn't have given it up. Should I have given it up? And he was a close talker.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then to make matters wonderful, the guy, Tommy, my buddy, right, who was like kind of civilized, kind of like had his shit together, told me about his girlfriend, like didn't seem crazy. He said to me like 20 minutes into the job, they're all like loading shit in. He goes, oh, all right, cool. I got to go. I'm going to leave my guys with you. Good luck. Let me know when they're done. And then you can send me the money. And I go, and they're all like right around me. And I go, wait, you're leaving right now? He's the only thing that makes me feel like I'm not going to get murdered. And he goes, yeah, I got to go. I volunteer to help the homeless in half an hour. And I go, but okay, who's in charge? And he's like, Two Fingers, you're in charge.
Really?
Yeah. The other guy's name was Lefty. I didn't get...
The one with the one eye?
No, the sweat guy.
Oh, weird. So he didn't just have like a left eye situation. Okay.
Two Fingers was in charge. That was...
Did he have one of his hands? Was it my dad?
No, that's right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, that was Spin Beats cocaine guy.
Was Two Fingers? Is that because he used to spin beats and he would be like a wiki with his two fingers? Like wiki.
I did not even put that together. I wonder if it's like a...
Maybe he named himself that too. Like, that's my DJ handle. Two Fingers.
They did it really quickly, and I ended up like saving a bunch of money by having these guys do it because they were really fast and they had done like a huge job earlier that day. This was no big deal. But the whole time I was like, they're going to rob or murder me. And I kept being happy when I would run into my new neighbor in the elevator. I'd be like, oh, hey, Chris. How are you, Chris? Where are you going now? Do you want to come upstairs and see my place, Chris?
You want to hang out?
Yeah, like, please don't leave me alone. And I'm like subtextually saying it to him. And then, of course, we end up having that dinner party where he says, like, yeah, I pretty much thought you were going to die. Jesus. And I was like, you didn't want to stay with a sister? He was like, I was afraid of them.
It's like, what was I going to do? I'm a chef.
So we got all my shit in here. And now, no joke, so beautiful, so spacious. I'm so grateful. I love it. The park is right outside. The trees, the wharf, the pond, the river is there, the rooftop garden, the town. I've made 80 friends in 4 days. I'm in heaven. And like true, and I feel at home and I relate to these people. The whole thing is so good. And I feel like that the whole point of all of these stories is like, it's that thing you said of like, sometimes when you're going through hell, just keep going.
Keep going. Yeah.
Because you're getting somewhere that matters, particularly if you got very strong spiritual guidance for 6 months that you need to do this thing. Probably you should do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. That's amazing. And I'm sure there's more stories attached to this, but that was, yeah, I do feel like that. That's a feature film. Actually, that's more than an episode of a thing. Like,
that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
You could write a movie.
Yeah. Desmond.
I just want to say, like I said, there's stories within the stories. How are you eating? What are you eating? Are you hitting drive-throughs? Are you eating?
Yes. What are you eating
tuna
on
fish
this trip?
sandwiches out of a gas station?
That's a really good question. The thing so like I'm trying really hard these days, and like knock wood, pat on the back, doing really well at eating like pretty paleo. Like I'm going pretty low carb, right? And then I have days where I just go, fuck everybody, I don't care. But what I did was I would go to, when you go to a Love's gas station, I by the way, big shout out to Love's gas station. Like I almost want to call Love's gas station and be like, do you want us to be you want to be a sponsor? Because we love you. Love's gas stations like make it easy to park. There's always a dog park with like a little fence in it for the dog. They have like snacks that are legit. Like you can buy like a bucket of grapes and some sparkly water and like fancy meat and cheese. So I kept stopping at the Loves and I would load up on like a paleo smorgasbord and get like a lot of like meat, cheese, grapes, and water. And I would just kind of do that. And then when I would get to a hotel at night, I would have like a meal, you know, and sometimes throw some carbs in at the meal time. So, you know, I made it work for me. It was because I was like, well, the last thing I wanted to do was like, I'm already a mess. If I'm sugaring it up all day, I'm going to be a triple dog mess.
Were you doing gas station espresso?
Well, okay. Oh, that's a bummer. No, I had tea the whole way. But when I got here, I got into that mentality of like, I deserve an espresso because I went through hell. So I've been back on the sauce.
So you're back on the sauce. Yeah. One of the first pictures you posted was you drinking, at a coffee shop.
That's
loving
right.
your town. Let's bleep it out, but tell me the name of the town again that you are.
Beacon.
Beacon.
Yeah.
Did the folk live there? Isn't that where some other artists? I think they might live in Beacon. Okay, that's a lot of beeping. Sorry, buddy.
Will you hook me up with them?
I will, if that's indeed where they are. Yeah.
Yay.
There's
a lot
amazing theater makers.
Oh, very cool. There's a lot of... Wait a minute. Were they in Beowulf?
They were the Beowulf guys. Yeah.
Okay. I met them.
Here in town.
In Beacon.
Fucking Beacon. Beacon's the name of the town.
Beacon. I met them in Beacon. I don't think you need to bleep it.
Okay. You're keeping it. You're committed. You're living there. It's fine.
Yeah. Listen, that's crazy you said that because when I landed, the first person I hung out with who came to console me and drink a champagne with me was...
Right, of course. And then she's super tight with those folks.
She spent the night. The next morning, she goes, let's see if Bubbity Ba and Hoobity Hoo are home because they live right over there.
They're awesome.
And we met them. We went to their house.
Oh.
How crazy is that?
With their little kid.
Yes. And their backyard is next level. It's heaven back there. It's like kid heaven and stage theater heaven.
Yes.
They're the coolest. I can't wait to hang out with them more.
Oh, they're the best. I love them. I miss them.
And speaking of that, because here we are coming back to more spiritual shit. Like, A, what a small world that you and I are talking about it. And you're like, you got to meet those guys. And I'm like, they're literally the one couple I've met. How weird is that?
That's awesome.
But B, so the first night and then we'll wrap this up. I know we're at time. When my new chef buddy said, come over, make it dinner. Come on, what are you doing at 7:30? Dinner? And I was like, fuck yeah.
Is that what, does he sound like that too?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want him to talk forever.
Yeah.
I love it so fucking much. Oh, so the first night, we had 2 of these parties. The first night, the second guest at the dinner party was this woman who I'm like, cool, your other buddy's here. She goes, yeah, it's funny. I just moved here 2 days ago. I go, oh, I just moved here 2 days ago. She goes, yeah, I just moved from Napa. I go, what? I just moved from the Bay Area. I stopped for a year, but I moved there. She goes, oh, that's so funny. I have this crazy dream. I want to live in this tiny town. It's called Durango. And I go,
shut the front door.
You're not going to believe what I'm going to say to you now. I just was there every day for a year. What? So she and I are now just like, we have...
Because of dreams or whatever, or visions or... Yeah.
Yeah. So she and I are going on a hike Thursday morning. She came to the second dinner party. We're buds now. She sells wine. She's fantastic. There you have it.
Wow.
That's my Napa buddy. And then like, it turns out Chef Guy and Napa Lady both know the town St. Helena, which no one I ever have met knows St. Helena. And the only reason I know St. Helena is because I went to Sufi healing school on a mountain in St. Helena. And they're both like, oh, yeah, I spent years in St. Helena. I'm like,
I know St. Helena. Yeah, it's Sonoma County, though.
Yeah, because Napa and wine and stuff. But anyway.
Wow.
So it's been miraculous. And I part of this, the value of this story, I feel like for people is we have to remember that sometimes even that which is a miracle, like being protected from the hurricane and being guided to stop at the shitty hotel, it doesn't always feel good or look sexy. But that doesn't mean you're not being guided for reasons that you maybe can't see.
Yeah, right. Because I think sometimes we try and frame up like, oh, well, that was obviously magic because it flowed so easily.
Yep.
And that can be true, but
yes. But that's my whole point, is that don't write off something going on in your life. And it's 4:04 as I say this, which is, I could explain why that's a thing. Don't write off something going on in your life because it's a bumpy ride. Read the energy of the outcome of the thing. In other words, if I stick this thing out, what's the energy of the outcome? How will I feel during the outcome of the thing? It's not always going to feel smooth on the ride there. Namaste, my friends. Namaste. We're all getting through. Oh, boy. Well, thanks for indulging me, you guys, and hearing all that.
Those were some good-ass stories. So much fun.
We should write them down.
Yeah. I guess you and I need to get back on that maybe.
Yeah.
We should all over ourselves is what we should do.
It's a good show, the thing we're writing. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it is.
Last thing I'll say is a little tease for next time, which is that this building sits on, now we're going to get real out there.
Yeah.
It sits on a Lemurian portal. And I didn't know that. I knew it was on a portal because that's a whole other story. But then when I got here, I was like, well, let's learn about this fucking portal because there's a reason I'm living on it. And then I found out it was Lemurian, and then I connected it to like a whole starship. There's all kinds of woo happening, you guys. So next time we'll talk about that. And we can even open the records of it.
Yeah, let's hear about that. Whenever you say Lemurian, I think of like these really slow moving mammals with 3 toes, like a sloth, because you say it's a lemur in my head. Like burp. And so I don't know what the energy of the Lemurians is, but is it really slow and plodding? No.
Not at all. Not in any way. They're light beings. They're star beings. They're very light.
But they all have like their own kind of vibe.
That's true.
You've got some that are like diamond cutters, and you've got some that are
that's right.
like love, and some that are like get the shit done.
Yeah, how would I describe them? The biggest location of the Lemurians is Shasta.
Oh, right. Yeah, they live in the mountains.
Yeah.
Inside the mountain.
That's right.
Are they like lizard form?
No, they're like the Atlantean beings. Like when Atlantis fell, the idea is that the Lemurians, some of them like took new forms. A lot of them became like dolphins, is what people believe, that the dolphins are what's called the mu, and the mu and the mu are like Lemurians in the form of dolphins. And then other of those ones of them like went into the Shasta and blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of stories. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to hear about that.
Yeah, we'll get into that next time. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and thanks for hearing me out, you guys. I appreciate you.
We've got some exciting guests coming up that we're not going to tease you about, but we're lining up some cool ass people.
Yeah.
That's coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Super psyched.
All right, so check out KatieRubin.com when you're ready to book your healing sesh. Come to Star Beings class, which starts next Monday, and do all the things Cassidy wants you to do.
You know what? Live your life, get healed, do your work. I'm not in anything, so there's nothing for you to attend that I'm involved with.
Damn it.
That's okay. And I'm weirdly, Katie, I got to just sideline real quick that I have never been more continually at peace with not knowing.
Can we high five it right now?
Yeah.
We're going to high five through the Zoom. I'm so
I get in my head about it sometimes, but it doesn't last. It doesn't have grips on me. I just go,
Dude, that's miraculous.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
It's cool.
Rock on.
Yeah. Just got to figure out my health insurance. But other than that, everything's going to be fine.
It sure is.
I'm golden. Yeah.
You'll book something in 5 minutes and it'll handle it.
It'll happen. Yeah. Here's what I'll say to the universe.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah.
Cast Cassidy in your movie. That's it. I'm just going to say that.
Oh.
There's a universe. There's something out there that wants me to come and be in their movie. I don't know what it is yet, though.
And so it's movie right now. You're feeling movie vibes.
Yep. I very much am.
Gotcha. I'm feeling TV vibes, so I feel you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's fine. That would be fine, too. But put Cassidy on your camera thing.
Okay, on your camera thing. You got
Bring
that,
Cassidy on set.
Camera thing.
Camera things.
Do that.
Great.
Yeah.
Love you both.
Do your work.
Do your work.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, friends of the podcast. How are you doing? How's it going for you? I hope all is well and shiny and bright and deeply surrendered and aligned and in flow. Just a small request and desire I have for your soul. Hey, listen. If you're interested in getting some really deep activation, spiritual healing, and alignment for yourself, getting clarity on your own spiritual path, and/or clearing or healing anything you need cleared or healed from your body, being, soul, or spirit, join me for 3 days of star being and Christ-light healing, October 1, 2, and 3 in upstate Massachusetts, or you can join online. It's a 3-day retreat where we're gonna zap a ton of crap right on out of your system and align you with the light in a really powerful way. October 1, 2, and 3. For details, give me a little email and I will email you back with everything you need. KLRubin, R-U-B-I-N, @gmail.com. That's K as in kiss, L as in love, R-U-B-I-N, @gmail.com. Additionally, consider joining us for 2 weeks in Egypt, November 15th to the 26th. 2 weeks in Egypt, friends. We're gonna go to the temples, we're gonna go to the pyramids, we're gonna go to the Sphinx, and we're gonna be raising the vibrational field of the planet to lift the weight of the recent trauma that we've all been going through for the past year or two, from the planet itself, from the collective, and from our own hearts. So this will be a ton of healing, and also like rad travels on the Nile and an integration time for 2 days at a beach at the end in Egypt. Have you always wanted to go to Egypt? Well, you should go. Now's the time. Email me, klrubin @gmail.com. That's K as in kiss, L as in love, R-U-B-I-N @gmail.com.
What are you asking for? All of the answers? Say what? All of the answers? Yeah, all the answers.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us with your questions so that we have questions to answer in the Akashic Records. Our email address is allanswerspod@gmail.com. That's allanswerspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to find us on Facebook or Twitter, it's @allanswerspod, @allanswerspod. Thank you. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, the kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene.
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese.